Let me just double check. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Double checking the recording.
I could have told you that.
um. So speaking of lifers, Bergeron and Krejci are both official now.
Yeah, and this is kind of something that we expected. We knew that Bergeron had two options on the
Should have been
table.
back.
He
Yeah.
was either going to return as a Boston Bruin or he was never going to play hockey again. And it didn't seem like he was never going to play hockey again. So he came back. I'm not surprised about Krejci. I always thought that he was going to return last year at the deadline.
Right. That's
kind of like how
everybody
Mike
was
Fisher
talking
did
about that, right?
with the
Yeah.
Preds. That was kind of what I thought. I was surprised when he didn't. So when he didn't, I thought like, oh, maybe he's just never going to return. But he is back now, and
He just wanted the full year at home, I think. Right?
makes sense. He picked a good off year. The Bruins didn't do anything, so
yeah.
Now who knows? Maybe his presence helps them.
They could have used him.
Maybe it helps them get by the Hurricanes in the first round, but they weren't really going to be a cup threat last year. So
no, and I mean, you have these guys like Bergeron's 37. Krejci just turned 37.
I want to say 37.
So like they're both in their they're both in their later 30s.
Yeah.
In terms of career. But I mean, we both know that, like, we all know that Bergeron still competes at an elite level.
He's 37 years. He might have had his best season in the NHL last year.
2002 and 2003 draft picks.
It's crazy.
20 years already.
Yeah,
these guys.
It's crazy to think about what they've been able to accomplish with the Boston Bruins, and it's big for Boston. I think for two reasons. One, you're getting good players back, but two, with a new coaching staff, specifically with Jim Montgomery, those are two guys that he can really lean on. That's huge. Yeah. So, I think that's big for Boston in terms of the leadership as they transition to this new coaching style, playing style.
You have your captain back.
You have your captain back. You have
his right-hand man, basically.
Back. Like
Krejci is Bergeron's Evgeny Malkin.
Yeah,
like that's the perfect comparison.
Right, he's not as good as Gino, obviously, but like in terms of just role and value, like he's
player
relationship. The Bruins second line center for like 15 years,
and player relationship, because those two, it's like Sid and Gino, they're tight at the hip, right?
Yeah, exactly.
What else can you say about these guys? Like, there's really just trying to think of like the legacy that these guys have. Can you look up what Krejci did last year in the Czech League? Just to see if he can still, because the biggest question that I have with David in particular is we've talked about his whole, we've talked about Boston's need for a second line center, right?
Yeah.
If he can still produce that way, that's great. But with his age, that's another thing, right?
Exactly.
Like, will his body be able to handle the minutes?
So last year in the ELH, in 51 games, he had 20 goals, 26 assists for 46 points.
That's not bad. Okay, that's
almost a point per game player in that league. So I still think that he's a 40 to 55 point guy in the National Hockey League.
Mm-hmm.
And that's reasonable for him. I think it also adds some versatility to the lineup because it helps give you clarity on roles for players.
Yes.
Charlie Coyle is a third line center.
Yes. Eric Halla is probably your fourth.
Well, he's not on the Bruins anymore.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he left. So, God, who is there? Like Nosek? Is Nosek still? Oh, that's right. It is Zacha.
So, yeah, Nosek is still there. So you
Nosek's
can go
there. Okay.
Bergeron, Krejci, Coyle, Nosek. You can put Zacha on the wing.
Right. Which Zacha got.
If there's injuries, Zacha can play center. So there's some versatility there. And I think it makes Charlie Coyle more effective.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think
absolutely. Like we know we know what Charlie is at this point.
Yeah, he's a little overpaid. He shouldn't be playing in the top 6, but on the third line, he can be a good player.
Yeah.
And bringing Krejci back allows him to do what he is supposed to do.
Right. And I don't know. I'm interested to see what David does with Taylor Hall.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because that's, naturally who you think that he would be playing with.
And we know it's going to be Pasta with Patrice.
And Marchand, whenever
Brad gets back. But that's the thing, is Brad's not going to be back until what, like January? So
who knows? Maybe he domies it. So
we'll he see. Could. So who do you fit there to start? Maybe Jake DeBrusk?
I would
probably put Jake there. Yeah.
That's the thing. You have some versatility with Jake DeBrusk too, because with Marchand out, you can do some things with Jake DeBrusk. You could put him on the second line if you want to put Taylor Hall on the first. I think you're better off putting DeBrusk on the first line, because I think Hall will work better on the second line with Krejci. We saw them work together pretty well in the playoffs against Washington.
Oh yeah.
So there's at least a little bit of a sample size for those.
So I'm at least trying to imagine the top 6 because the biggest injuries that they have are defensemen. They're missing their entire right side, right?
It's it's always bad to have your number one defenseman go down. It's even worse when your number one defenseman is as good as Charlie McAvoy is.
So just in terms of the forwards, now that both of the old guard guys are back, so probably like Jake DeBrusk, Patrice Bergeron, David Pastrnak is your first line.
Yeah.
Until Brad gets back.
Yeah.
Whenever Marchand returns, and then second line Taylor Hall, Krejci, Zacha.
I think that's what they want to do. Now I don't know if they're going to put Hall on the right side or the left side, but
can Zacha?
I feel like it makes more sense to put Zacha on the left side and Hall
right.
Because Zacha has, for most part of his career, been a center, but he can play the left wing. He's never really played right wing before.
Got it. Okay, I didn't know.
Whereas if he's Taylor Hall can play a little bit. He can play right wing. He's done it before.
Right. He did it in Jersey. And I'm pretty sure he did it in Edmonton plenty, right?
Yeah, at times he did. So
another thing to consider, at least with the Taylor Hall factor, is like that second line's getting older now, especially with Krejci back, because you have 37-year-old David Krejci. Taylor Hall just turned 30.
Yeah. And then who knows? Maybe they put Zacha on the third line and have Craig Smith playing with them.
That's right. They have Craig Smith. They have, they do have options.
Yeah.
Forward wise. Because again, Marchand's a huge loss, but at the same time, it's like it's only one dude.
Yeah, they should be fine.
That's a lot of productivity lost, though. That's a lot of points lost.
Here's the thing: they should be fine, but in terms of they'll still be good.
They'll still be competitive, but at the same time,
is it good enough in that division?
No, I don't think so.
I don't think it is either.
I do not think so.
You're going to need Marchand to return, I would say, mid-December if you want a chance of making the playoffs.
Oh, yeah. And you want Charlie, right away.
Right.
You want Charlie ASAP. But it's not just Charlie and Marchand. They're missing Mike Riley and Matt Grzelcyk.
Yeah, that's tough.
Grizz is huge.
He is huge
for that team.
This is going to put a lot of pressure on Hampus Lindholm.
Oh yeah,
he's going to have to carry some weight a little bit here. And
so then how does the
defense? For this guy?
I'm trying to think. How does the defense shore up then? Is it?
Well, let's say so. These guys are out. Okay, let's just go for that. For example, you still have, as I mentioned, Hampus Lindholm.
Yep.
Still have Derek Forbort.
They do have Forbort now. Yep.
They still have Jakob Zboril.
Zboril is fine. He's
never going to live up to what his potential once was. But
you got to remember that 2015 fiasco. We always come back to their 3 picks in a row from 2015 because of just go and look at it again. People go and read the first round. of the 2015 draft, and look at what the Bruins did, and look at what came directly after.
Yeah.
The 3 picks directly after 13, 14, 15. And don't get me wrong.
It's bad.
Jake DeBrusk is a great player.
He's a good player. Yeah, he's fine. There's nothing wrong with Jake DeBrusk.
No.
You get Jake DeBrusk at pick, what? I think they picked him 14th.
Jake was...
I want to say Zaboral, DeBrusk, and then Senyshyn.
I want to say, if it's not that, then Jake was first and Zaboral was second.
Right. So, like, there's nothing wrong with like if you pick Jake DeBrusk, say 14th, and then the 15th pick is Matt Barzal, for example.
Right.
Like, I don't really think that's a big deal. Like, of course, people are going to be like, "Oh, you could have Matt Barzal," but like, it's not like you missed out on a player, so horrendously bad, because you still got a good guy who's playing in your top 6.
Yes.
The issue is when you have Jakub Zaboral and Zach Senyshyn in there, and then the next 3 players are Thomas Chabot and Kyle Connor and Matt Barzal.
Right.
Like, it has nothing to do with DeBrusk. It really does. It's literally it's just Zaboral and Senyshyn. And Senyshyn's not even there anymore. So
right, Senyshyn's gone, and Zaboral's going to be okay. Like, we haven't seen much from him just in terms of his career.
He looks like he might be a depth defenseman, and honestly, there's nothing wrong with that at this point. But it sucks when you could have had a guy like Thomas Chabot. I think that's better.
Yeah. So like you have you have Lindholm, who's he's got really big shoes to fill, especially with that contract he's got now.
Yeah. You've got Forbort, as we mentioned.
Forbort,
Zaboral, Connor Clifton.
Clifton is one of their more underrated defensemen too.
And this is the thing that sucks, is like, I think he's a fine third pair defenseman. He's going to play in the top 4, and he's going to struggle with that. And it's nothing against the kid. It's just like, you have your role. Like, not everybody's meant to play in the top 4 in defense. Not everybody's meant to play in the top 6 on offense.
I know we both sound a little under the weather. Let me just address this. Like, yeah, I don't know. My throat's been bugging me for a few days, and then I don't know. Cold. I was gonna say, you just sound like you're struggling.
Yeah, it's it's cold. They always suck, but I'm gonna be okay.
You'll live. Let me look at this now. Oh yeah, I forgot they had this guy. Probably again throw him under the underrated. Brandon Carlo.
I thought he was hurt.
Is he another one that's hurt?
I thought you mentioned that he was hurt. That's why I didn't mention him.
No.
Oh, okay. So Carlo. No. With that then. I thought for some reason he was hurt.
No, Carlo should be fine.
Okay.
Because it's Grizz, it's Mac, and it's Mike Riley.
Okay. All right. So Carlo will play on the top pair with Lindholm, and then Forbort with Connor Clifton on your second pair.
And Clifton, and that leaves Wolf and
they need to see.
They need
comes available,
because your right-handed shots. I'm just looking at the roster just on paper here. You only have 3 right-handed shots, and that's in Carlo, Clifton, and Charlie. Mm-hmm. Everybody else is a left-handed shot.
Yeah, and Mike Riley has been big for them because he can play the right side.
Right, but he's a TJ Brody type.
Yeah. So that's a big loss for them, because they've lost 2 guys who play on the right side.
I'm trying to think. So then would your third pair end up being Zaboral and Nick Wolf? Ooh.
I think your third pair is going to be Zaboral
Zboril
was not yet on the roster.
Right, but you don't have too much time anymore.
You don't have a ton of time. They can just ride the waiver wire.
You could, I guess.
I think that's probably their best bet to see if there's a defenseman who comes free that's not too expensive that hits the waiver wire that they could just be like, we need a third pair guy.
Right. So Bergeron and Krejci being back is going to bolster the center depth. Absolutely. Like, like it should. I don't know how much, just based off of how old they are now.
I mean, they're still really effective. Krejci won't be as effective as he used to be, but Bergeron's no different than he's been since he was, 27.
Right, exactly.
I know that he's 37 now, but age doesn't really matter for me when it comes to Patrice Bergeron because he hasn't dipped.
Well, no, there's a reason why he's won the most Selke trophies out of literally anybody now.
He has won the Bergeron award.
Yeah. Once he's done, they should rename the award. Absolutely.
They really should. It's not even a question.
And again, the biggest question mark is that defense. It's the biggest thing.
Yeah.
Because their bottom six, I'm sure, is going to be fine.
Yeah, but the bottom six is what it is. The top six will be fine. Goaltending's fine. Linus Ullmark and Jeremy Swayman, you're fine.
It's going to be interesting to see who pulls more starts between the two of them.
I think it'll be Swayman.
I think it's going to be Sway as well, but
I think they're trying to slowly build him up.
Yep.
And then
I think they tandem it this year. Then, like, you think they split the net a little more evenly? Probably.
Yeah. I think it'll be something like Swayman gets 47, 48 starts.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And Ullmark gets the others.
Right.
It'll be more even, but I think their plan moving forward is Swayman's their guy. They're just trying to slowly build him into it.
Yeah. So Sway's definitely the guy, but we'll see how they play it this year.
Yeah.
Right. And again, it's just we can't. I keep belaboring the point on defense because it's like, dude, you're missing Matt Grzelcyk and Charlie McAvoy.
Yeah, they need those guys. They need one of those guys to come back earlier than expected,
and not to keep throwing Mike Riley under the bus because again, he's just as quintessential as those guys, but he's not a Charlie McAvoy. He's not a Matt Grzelcyk.
No. I mean, I could name you, hundreds of defensemen who are Charlie McAvoy. I can maybe name you 5 who are. It's just,
right, exactly.
It is what it is. He's one of the best defensemen in the league, but he's still incredibly valuable for them, and so is Grizz. So that's tough. Those are big losses to start a season, especially.
Yeah, and Marshy too, for what kind of game that Marchand brings on both the points production and just the agitation.
Mm-hmm.
Right, the brand of Bruins hockey, that Marchand plays, is really going to need to be filled by committee. And I mean, Jake can do it. I think Jake can do both sides.
He can bring you the offense.
He can bring you the offense.
Nobody brings you the nastiness that Marchand brings. You know who they could bring back, who they won't, because it makes no sense.
Huh?
Bring back Lucic.
Ooh, that'd be fun though.
It'd be fun, but it would make no sense.
You know who I think? Because I think Marchand's like roles, just in terms of both sides of it, those are going to be filled by committee. And you know who I think can fill that pest role really well?
I think I know who you're going to say.
You think?
Yeah. You're going to say the old captain.
No.
Of the Blue Jackets.
No.
Who do you think then?
Young kid. Trent Frederick.
Yeah, he's interesting too.
I've loved Frederick's game. Like, I'm gonna be totally brutally honest with you.
I'm not confident in terms of how he can drive play, but in terms of what you're saying,
in terms of just being the pest that Marchand is, like, yes.
Yeah, he can do that in the bottom 6. Yeah, I agree with that.
So you have, you'll have Jake go out there on the top line, and then you can throw Frederick out there to stir the pot, and then it's like Marshy never really left.